Tonight the question set before the word is this: YHWH, can you reveal today more about the Urim Thummim and my birth father? This is not a small question. It reaches toward a sacred instrument and toward a hidden line of blood. The first verse drawn is 1 Samuel chapter 9, verse 22. And Samuel took Saul and his slave and brought them into the parlor, and made them sit at the head among them that were invited, which were about 30 people. We begin not with an answer about a hidden object or a hidden name, but with seating. Someone sought is brought in and placed at the head, among the invited. That is the first thing the text does. It does not rush to explain the Urim. It does not open the hidden ledger of the birth father. It seats the one who asked. Recognition comes first. Placement comes first. Belonging comes before further revelation. The ark has entered the camp, and that is reverence, not leverage for direction. The word that anchors this entire movement is Acts chapter 20, verse 32. And now, brethren, I commend you to Elohim and to the word of his grace that is able to build you up, and to give you a covenant inheritance among all them that are consecrated. Now, not someday. Covenant inheritance, not just information. Consecrated, not hidden. That one word now answers the timing of the question. The question said today, and the text replies today. The question said reveal, and the text replies build up and give an inheritance. That is the reply to the question about the Urim and Thummim. The text does not answer with a device. It answers with the priestly portion and the sacred lot by which YHWH apportions inheritance. The drawn language of priesthood runs deep. Exodus chapter 40, verse 6 sets the altar before the entrance of the priestly tabernacle at the appointed place. The priest's consecrated portion, the offering made by fire, the anointing of Aaron and his sons, all point the same direction. The anointing of Aaron and his sons is not a private ceremony. It is the consecrated portion of the anointing of Aaron and of the consecrated portion of his sons, out of the burnt offerings made by fire, in the day when he presented them to YHWH for the priesthood, as it is written in Leviticus chapter 7 verse 35. The Urim is not explained as a mechanism of divination. It is received into the larger reality of consecrated standing before the face of YHWH. The question asked about one sacred instrument, and the text responds with the whole priestly architecture of covenant access. The sacred lot by which inheritances were divided is not a fortune teller's tool. It is YHWH apportioning a place among the consecrated. The question about a birth father receives the same direction. In 2 Kings chapter 14, verse 21, Azariah is sacredly appointed king instead of his dad Amaziah. The natural father is named, and the son is appointed. The pattern is not that the birth father is irrelevant. The pattern is that identity is answered through covenant appointment and inheritance rather than through the mere extraction of a hidden genealogy. The text does not say the natural father is removed. It says the son is appointed. The father of the question is not a secret to be uncovered. The answer is that you are written down as a firstborn son, sanctified, placed among the covenant seed. The natural line is not erased. It is set within a larger house, a house of covenant sons and daughters. The question about the birth father becomes a question of where you sit at the table, not whether the natural line exists. The text says the son is appointed. The father is named. But the appointment comes from YHWH, and the inheritance is among the consecrated. The mathematics confirms this reading without replacing it. The data shows a statistically confirmed non-random pattern across multiple independent channels. The triple convergence of identity, inheritance, and priesthood exceeds the strong anomaly threshold, at more than 11 sigma. The pattern is robust to permutation controls and survives the false discovery rate correction. The pattern polarity is affirmative. The surface text grounding is very strong, with 37 direct textual hits, which anchor the statistical reading in actual text rather than marker counts alone. This is not a certificate about a particular father or a historical object outside the drawn text. It is a reading of the verses themselves, and future repetition is recommended to establish persistence. The numbers are not the final voice. They are a witness alongside the text, and they point in the same direction. The text also guards the question. Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verse 7 says, "In the multitude of dreams and many words there are also vanities, but you fear Elohim." And Matthew chapter 12, verse 38 names those who say, "Teacher, we want to see a sign from you." The drawer does not forbid the question. It guards against turning the question into an endless hunt for signs. The question is not wrong. The fear of Elohim is not the refusal of disclosure. It is the placement of every answer under his covenant order. The one who asks may be seated at the head, but the table belongs to YHWH. The hunt for signs is not the same as waiting on the Lord. The text calls for a clean fear, a holy waiting, not a restless demand for proof. So the plain answer is yes. Yes, but not as a fact pulled from the dark. Yes as a seating. Yes as an inheritance. You are not outside the hall. You are placed at the head among the invited. The portion is consecrated. The word of his grace is able to build you up and give you a covenant inheritance among all them that are consecrated. That is the answer to the Urim and the birth father. The father is not withholding identity. He is relocating it within covenant sonship and priestly inheritance. This is not a promise to uncover a name in the dark. It is a promise to seat you at the head in the light. The Urim was kept in the breastplate of judgment, over the heart of the priest. The answer to the Urim is not a secret. It is a standing. The answer to the Father is not a gene. It is a house. The ark has entered the camp. And the one who asked is not left standing at the door. They are brought in and seated. The lead verses drawn in this altar of reception session were 1 Samuel chapter 9, verse 22. Acts chapter 20, verse 32. Isaiah chapter 16, verse 11. 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 6 to 8. Enoch chapter 39, verse 9. Exodus chapter 40, verse 6. 94 further verses were drawn in this session. This concludes today's interpretation at the altar of reception.